Good evening to one and all present here. Myself, Kanisha, from 3rd CSE Computer Science Department. I'm pleased to welcome you all to the initiation of Hackclub SKCET. Hackclub SKCET is a non-profit student coding community of a college with an ultimate vision of maintaining collaborative learning and workspace throughout the students of our college. Independent of the stream chosen, Hackclub encourages students to join hands and work together towards multiple domains for collective knowledge. And I feel immensely proud to welcome our chief guest, Zach Latta, founder of Hack Club International, to find his time to motivate and educate our intellects under his tight schedule. Our principal, Dr. J. Janet, a benevolent soul who works tirelessly for educating the young minds. Our head of the departments and faculty members who contributed their time and skills for the development of the students in all aspects. Last but not the least, our students. I'm privileged to welcome everyone here. Moving forward, let's kickstart the inaugural ceremony with a few words from our principal, Dr. J. Janet.
A very good evening to Zach Latta and team and all my wonderful students at SKCET and other institutions as well. I'm really very pleased that the Hack Club has been, we are starting the Hack Club at SKCET and Zach Latta has agreed to join and give his expertise on this to our students. A warm good evening to you, sir, and welcome to the Hack Club. Of our institution, and without taking much time, over to Zach Latta, and I'm excited to hear from you as well. All the best.
Amazing. Well, Janet, thank you for the very warm welcome. It's just such an honor to be here, and thank you to Guru and the whole team at this new Hack Club for inviting me to join you all this morning. Or I guess this evening.
It's our pleasure. Our pleasure. Yeah, it's evening.
Amazing. So I can give a little bit of background on Hack Club and share a little bit more about, kind of what I hope your journey with Hack Club will look like. And I think why the journey you're embarking on is just so incredibly meaningful. I see that the screen share is going on right now. Do you want to stop seeing the screen share so there's a grid of everybody's faces just while I'm talking? Cool. And if anybody has video cameras, I'd love if you could turn your video on so I could see you. I can't believe there's 300 people in this call. It's just such an honor to have a chance to be able to welcome you all. So by way of background, my name is Zach Latta. I'm the founder of Hack Club. I'm calling you from Vermont in America, where it's 9:30 in the morning for me. And I'm just so excited to have a chance to welcome you all to the first session of Hack Club at SKCET. My story is, so I'm 23 now, but I started Hack Club when I was 16. I grew up on the outskirts of Los Angeles. Both my parents were social workers, my mom in foster care, my dad in homelessness. But I went to schools that, like most schools in America and in the world, didn't teach and still don't teach any coding classes. But I was just one of those kids that can never pull myself away from computers. I built my first website when I was 7. I got my first 10,000 users when I was 12. When I was 15, I helped make a game that became the #1 game on the App Store. And ultimately, I ended up leaving school to move out of my parents' home and to become a programmer in San Francisco because I was so desperate for community of people who shared my love of coding. When I was 16, I started Hack Club to create really what I so desperately wish I had and try to foster what I so desperately wish I had when I was a teenager. I think coding is the closest thing we have today to a superpower. And I know that for those of you on this call, I know that a lot of you are from different backgrounds. Some of you are studying engineering. Some of you are studying mechanical engineering. Some of you are studying computer engineering. And for every single one of you, I really just want to say welcome, because whether you're starting your coding journey or whether joining this Hack Club is one more step kind of on a coding journey you've already started, I hope that you are about to embark on the ride of your lives. For me, the reason why I think what we're doing here is so important with all of you is I really believe that humanity as a whole is going to face some of the biggest challenges that we've ever had to reckon with over the next 50 years. we're already feeling the effects of climate change today. AI risk is on the horizon. Automation is changing everything. These are all massive society level changes that are underpinned by technology. And I really believe that like we as a species need to make sure that we're getting ahead of these challenges and we're becoming the future leaders that we hope to in the world. So not only can we build better ourselves, but build better nonprofits and better companies, but we as a whole, as a collective hacker movement, and by joining Hackclub, you're joining a collective hacker movement. This Hackclub is one of 500 hack clubs around the world. In the US, they're in nearly all 50 states in the US. Internationally, there's hack clubs in 22 countries. Elon Musk came and joined Hackclub last year and is one of Hackclub's largest supporters because he believes so strongly in what all of you are doing. I believe it is on all of us to learn the skills today to be the leaders that our world needs tomorrow. And I think when you learn technology, I think that comes with a real responsibility. And it's important that we ask all the why questions. Who are we? What is this world we live in? Not only how do you make a project, but what is the impact of that project? How do we think about that project in relation to the rest of the world? How do we make sure that people don't get left behind by technology? I think these are all super important questions that we need to start reckoning with now. For me, one of the things that really changed my life when I started coding, I've been coding for 13 years now, was going to hackathons. And I know one of the goals of your hack club is to go to hackathons, participate in them, and maybe eventually host one of your own someday. And for those of you who don't know, hackathons are these incredible 24-hour-long coding marathon events. They're 24 hours long. You get on a team of up to 4 people. There's sometimes a theme, there's sometimes not a theme. And from scratch in that 24-hour period, you need to design, build, and create a project that you present to judges at the closing ceremony. For me, hackathons changed my life because they made me realize that coding wasn't just a cool thing that let me build cool websites, but it was the foundation of all of the friendships that I hold dearest to my heart today. I hope for all of you, when you have a chance to go to a hackathon, or if you haven't, if you've already been to them and you have your chance to go to your next hackathon, I hope that you will similarly have a life-changing experience like what I feel like I was able to have through my first events. I'm so honored and excited to welcome all of you. I hope that Hack Club is going to be a deep and meaningful experience for you. I hope that you are going to get out of this club in the next 12 months the skills and the mindset and the friendships that you're going to hold dearest to your heart in 5 to 10 years from now. What you're about to do is start your hacker journey. And this idea of the hacker, of this person who is the unconventional problem solver. I think when people hear the word hacker, they think of someone who's in a basement typing madly at a keyboard trying to hack into bank accounts. I don't think that's what a hacker is at all. I think a hacker is an unconventional problem solver. I think a hacker is somebody who thinks different. I think a hacker is somebody who isn't afraid to challenge the status quo. I think a hacker asks, can't we do things just a little bit better? And for all of you, as you start your hacker journeys, I hope that you will, have the same personal experiences that are hopefully as meaningful to you as I feel like I was fortunate enough to have when I started my journey. So I'll stop there briefly. And I know that there's some questions, we can open it up. But really the last thing I want to emphasize is that you are part of something much larger than your school. There are 13,000 hack clubbers around the world. Elon Musk is supporting you. Gwen Shotwell, the COO of SpaceX, is supporting you. Tom Preston Warner, the founder of GitHub, is supporting you. There is a group of people who really wish that they could have been hackers when they were in high school and in college, who are supporting you and encouraging you every step of the way on your hacker journeys. So I can stop there. I know there's some questions. So I'd like to open it up. And again, folks, please feel free to turn on your videos. I know there's muting rules, but I love to see you because I feel a much deeper sense of connection when I can see your face.
That was a wonderful speech by a guest of honor. Continuing this, we have a Q&A session where the questions were asked by the students previously with Google Forms. Most useful 3 questions are presented by the guest, to the guest of honor to clear the clustered path.
Do you have questions? Sorry, how do you want to structure this? Go for it.
Yeah, very good. Good afternoon. Out of the context, like what would students gain if they participate in a hackathon? Like what would be the motive of the companies in hosting an hackathon? Just to let them know how the hackathons work and such kind of things.
I think hackathons are amazing. And I think a lot of people, when they hear about hackathons, they picture these as events where you should build companies or you should build useful products that will go on and be useful in the future. I don't think that's the purpose of hackathons at all. I think hackathons, they're like coding parties. And I think hackathons should be treated as such. And I think hackathons are an opportunity to ask yourself, what can I build this weekend that I didn't think was possible beforehand? And what can I build this weekend that I might not build normally in the rest of my life? For me, at the hackathons that I've been to as an attendee, where I've gotten the most value out of them have always been the events where I ask, like, what is something that only I can make only this weekend? One of the projects that I'm personally most proud of is an app called SSH-tron. I know I can't share my screen or type it in the chat, but if any of you are on a computer that has a terminal on it, you can open up that terminal and type SSH space SSHTRON .Zachlatta ZACHLATTA.com, and it will drop you into a live real-time multiplayer Tron game. What I loved so much about this project was because I love asking this question of, like, how do we inject a little bit of magic into experiences that people would never expect to see magic in? And for something like the terminal and something like SSH, you always open up SSH expecting that your goal is to just connect to a server. But then to run that command and actually have a whole game played, I think it's just a little bit magical. It's a little bit different. And I think that's what hackathons are all about. So if you're a student and you're coming, I would expect it to be like a 24-hour long coding party. You should make friends that you haven't made before. You should work with people and technologies that you haven't worked with before. And you should try to make something where, rather than trying to make the most impressive presentation, you should just make something that feels so cool, so real, like so unique to you. And I know that for me, when I go and judge at hackathons, and I've judged at dozens of hackathons in the Hackclub network so far, what I will say for me as a judge, my favorite projects, the ones that I always rank first in my list, are the ones that aren't a slideshow presentation, are the ones that aren't, someone trying to pitch some like giant business that there's no way you can build in 24 hours, but the ones where someone sat down and just built something really cool, something where I'm like, wow, I would have never expected that you could do something like that. And I think that's just the most amazing thing in the world. And I think that's something that you can only do at hackathons. What I'll say was I had my first, I was very lucky to have a chance to visit India last February, shortly before the pandemic started. And I came to Kerala, I came to Kochi. And something I saw, I came to a hackathon called Hack Camp that was hosted in Kochi by Athul, who's the founder of Hackclub India. And something I saw that weekend was there was such unbelievable, incredible energy from every Indian hack clubber. I could feel the hunger. I could feel the creativity. It was such an amazing weekend. And for those of you who haven't had a chance to go to your first hackathon, I hope you will, and I hope it'll be an amazing experience for you.
Thank you, Zach. That answered my question really well. And there is one more question from the chat that as a beginner, how can I prepare myself for hackathons?
As a beginner, how do I prepare for hackathons?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, for me, the most important preparation to do for a hackathon is to bring a friend. The hackathons where I've had the best experience as an attendee, and for me, I went to my first hackathon when I was 13. I barely knew any coding. I was so afraid that I would be the least technical person there. And also, it was a college hackathon, so everybody was 8 years older than me. I felt so intimidated. And the one thing I wish I did that weekend that I didn't do is I wish I brought a friend with me. Because it's one thing to be struggling alone at 3 a.m. thinking, oh my God, why is my code not working? Am I just stupid? Am I just not a coding person? Like, what have I done wrong? But it's another to have a friend next to you who's saying, all right, like, we're going to get through this together. We're going to figure this out. Because I think that the challenge of learning to code is really, less of a technical challenge. And I think it's more of a motivation challenge. And with coding, if you feel like you can do it, if you feel like you have the support that you need to kind of push through challenges, and by the way, you're like 99 out of a break, it's not going to do what you you'll feel more like you can complete it. So for me, if I was helping you prep for your hackathon, for your first hackathon, I would actually not spend my time with you helping you learn coding skills or trying to come up with the best idea. I would spend my time with you trying to get you to get a friend who can come with you. And it doesn't even matter if they're technical or not, and just work with you, and the two of you can kind of push through any challenges you face that weekend. And by the way, hackathons are the best place ever to build your skills. You don't need to be advanced. You don't need to know a lot of coding. I think that, I've helped a lot of teams at hackathons where they had never written a single line of code before they came that weekend. And they built a beautiful website because there were mentors and they were asking people for help and they're tapping people on the shoulder whenever they got stuck. And they ended up winning prizes. There was one team that got second place that had never coded before at an event that I went to.
Thanks for the info, Zach. And would you mind answering the questions on the screen right now?
On the screen?
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So the question is, what are my views about student developers from India? So for me, I started Hackclub when I was 16, really to try and foster and help create the community that I so desperately wish I had when I was a teenager. And something that I believe very strongly, and I've always believed, is I feel like the concept of nations and the concept of borders, of someone from India being different from someone from the US, that's different from someone from Mexico, which is different than someone from the Philippines, it is such a crazy idea to me, because I think we're all human beings. I think we're all the same people. And I think the internet is a great leveler in that way. There's something like the most amazing thing about technology is that every single one of you on this call who has a phone in your pocket, like we have these magical little devices that have all of human history and knowledge in them. Like this is better than the Library of Alexandria. Like that is the most incredible thing ever. And I think that, when we decide to take a step in and ask why until we can't ask why anymore, to kind of, try to understand how the world works, I think that's the most amazing thing in the world. So when I came to India, something that I had been thinking a lot about was the average Hack Club attendance in India is a lot higher than the average Hack Club attendance in the US and in other countries. And the question I was asking myself is like, what's going on? Like, is there something special happening in India? Like, are Indian Hack Clubbers just different, or like, is there like something going on? And what I found that was really humbling when I arrived and had a chance to meet a lot of you and go to a lot of the Hack Clubs and come to Hack Club events, I was really humbled by the idea of, wow, we're all the same. There's nothing different. There's nothing like you're not different than me. We're all the same people. And what I love about Indians and what I love about Hack Club in India is that I think Indians are so creative. They're so thoughtful. They're so kind. And I think they're so creative. So I think student developers from India are a force to be reckoned with that I think most people in America and the rest of the world don't realize. I think in America, a lot of Americans have a kind of notion that Indian developers are something that someone that you hire to offshore when you want to spend less money on your product and you don't care about the quality of your product. And I think that is not true at all. I think there's an up and coming wave of unbelievable, creative, smart, same thing that's happening in America across India. And I think that the world is a global place. I don't know about all of you, but I think increasingly people don't care about where they're born or what region they happen to be born in, because we're all hackers. We're all human beings. We all share the same ethos. And I think there's something very special and very profound about that.
Yeah, I think Prabita, you can ask your questions.
Yes, sir.
You just scroll down. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Most of us are from biology background in high school. So So how can we adapt ourselves into today's competitive world in computer science?
Oh, beautiful. Well, I mean, I think the magic, I think when people think about coding, I think a lot of people think that you need to know a lot of math, or you have to have been studying computers for a long time. I never made it past algebra. Most of you know more math than I know. For me, I never finished my second year of high school. I was only in high school for 1 year before I became a programmer. And for me, when I made that change, I was really worried that I would be stupid, that I wouldn't know things that I had to know to become a good programmer. And what I found in reality is that coding is I think a lot more of a craft and a lot more of an art than it is a science. And in the same way that you learn any craft or art, you're just practicing. You become a painter by painting a lot. I think the best way to learn how to code is through writing a lot of code and building a lot of projects. And you're going to build a website and it's going to be terrible. And then you should build another website and it's going to be slightly less terrible. And you're going to build another website, it's going to be slightly less terrible. And then you're going to build another website, it's going to be slightly less terrible. And I think that's the way that you learn. So I think that if all of you are from a biology background and you're up against another group of people who are all from a math background, I think it literally makes no difference at all. In the same way that coming from a biology background wouldn't make a difference if you're trying to learn how to paint. Craft. And I think that the best way to learn any craft is through just trying to start making things. And you're not going to be happy with the first 25 projects you make, and that's okay. And that's a process, and that's how you push through. And the key to becoming great at coding is just writing a little bit of code every day.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Abhirami, so you can ask a question.
Oh, beautiful. So the question is, can I share 3 tips to ace hackathons and competitive coding events? Great. Well, what I can say is what I can share here is what I look for as a judge when I judge events. I look for novelty. I look for things that are different. When I go to hackathons, I see a lot of people build the same project at a lot of different hackathons. I always rank those lowest. I look for novelty, and I look for a team that feels inspired. Like, are you doing something I've never seen before? Even if it's not that technical, that's okay. That's okay. Something I've always wanted to see at a hackathon is someone building a Rube Goldberg machine. And I have never seen that, but I think that'd be really cool. The second thing I look for is I look for passion from the team. I like, is this team really into what they made? Like, can I feel that they spent their time, like, really, like, asking themselves, how do we make something that's cool for us instead of cool for the judges? What I'll say is, as a judge, it's very easy to tell when someone built a project that's clearly meant to impress the judges. And I always rank those last, because I think that oftentimes the projects that attendees think that are coolest for the judges are actually the projects that are least interesting for attendees. So the second thing, as I say, is build a project that you're into for yourself and be passionate about it. And the third thing I look for is I look for how much the team stretched themselves. Okay. And what I mean by that is, if you're beginners and you did something you've never done before, you learned a lot of technology, that is awesome. And I always look for that when I'm judging. If you're super technical, you already know a ton about coding, and you do something that you've never done before, that, like, you really push your skills, that is equally awesome. And that is something I'm totally looking forward to. So those are the 3 things that I look for in judging, which is 1, novelty. Like, is this new? Have I seen this before in, like, a real way? Second, what is this, just a cool project that's supposed to be built for me to think is cool? Or is this something the team's actually really into and passionate about, that they really enjoy building over the weekend? And then third, it's how much you push yourselves. Those are the 3 things I look for. The last thing I'll mention is I think that a lot of people feel like you need to build useful projects at hackathons. My favorite projects at hackathons are almost always useless projects at hackathons, because every single team says, we spent all 24 hours building this business, and, like, we started it, but we're going to keep doing it. And of course, nobody keeps running it after the hackathon, because, like, who would want to run a business that you started at a hackathon? I think that my favorite projects are when someone just built something that's meaningful to them, that doesn't have like a grand presentation or something like that. So those would be like the three things I look for, and then three tips that I would give. And I think increasingly judges are going in this direction too. As hackathons become more common across India and across the rest of the world, I think people get tired of seeing the same projects over and over and over again.
Thanks, Zach. That was really wonderful. And there are a few questions in the chat box. Do you mind answering them?
Yeah, I can probably take one, and unfortunately I have to go.
Yeah.
But so I see Bhuvanesh,
Yeah.
and their question is, it seems like increasingly students are showing interest in joining big tech companies, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, rather than startups, and that they see this trend happening in India, and that they feel like startups can provide a lot of kind of a variety of experience. And what do I think about that? And you know, for me, I can't speak to the trends in India. I don't know what it's like to be an up and coming developer in India. I don't know how Google is seen in India versus how Google is seen in the US, or how Amazon's seen in India versus how Amazon's seen in the US. The thing that I would ask when I'm looking for jobs, or the thing I would ask if I were looking for jobs, is I would ask, can I be a founder of something in this role? And being a founder of something could be like you create the whole website for the organization. Like that is founding the website of that company. If you're working at a big company like Amazon, can you be the founder of maybe like a very small portion of it? Like, can I be the founder of a great class written in this broader Java code base? But the thing I would be looking for if I were looking for jobs is ownership. Because I think when you have ownership over the work that you're doing, where you feel like this is mine, you know, like this is really a thing that like I want to make amazing, whether that's something really big or something really small. I think those are the places where you grow the most. And I definitely know for me, throughout my career, like those are places where I've grown the most. And I know that as I build the team at Hackclub, like we're starting to learn how to build a team too. That's the thing I look for in the people that I hire. Has this person taken something, whether it's really small and they want to do a really great job at it, or it's really big and maybe they did an okay job at it, and really own that through and through. So that's what I would be thinking about. I would imagine it's probably easier to get more ownership in startups, because there's just so many things that need to be done. But I think you can absolutely get that at big companies too. So that's one. I see another question.
Without taking much of your time, can I ask one more question? You
Yes,
don't mind?
super quick, but I have to go in 4 minutes. I have another call.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think is my skill required for winning a hackathon?
What are the skills required?
Yeah.
The mindset that you will push through any problems that you face. You can win a hackathon. I've never written any code before. You can go to a hackathon and not know half the skills that you need to build your project. But the one thing you can't go to a hackathon without is the mindset that when I face a problem, I'm going to push through it. You have to have that. And it's going to be hard, and that's how you learn. That's the way that beautiful things are created in the world too. That's the one thing you need if you're going to a hackathon. And you can be an absolute beginner, you can be super advanced, and you will not be successful in both cases unless you have that mindset.
That's really great. Thank you so much for spending your
Zach,
time.
last question, please.
Sure.
Yeah. So should I join a team, or how do I form one, and why should I?
Definitely join a team. You can join a team. I mean, it's awkward, but if you do it, I promise it'll work. If you go and talk to people and say, hey, what are you working on? Can I work with you? You'd be surprised how many people say yes at hackathons. But the one big recommendation I would really have is bring a friend. Because when you bring a friend, you have that deeper connection than just the project that you're working on. So it means even if the project goes awry, even if it's not going the way that you want it to go, you will have another person who's with you who says, you know what, let's push through this. We're going to get this working. So that would be my recommendation. You definitely want a team at a hackathon. Cool. Well, hey everybody. I just have to say thank you so much for having me today for this opening ceremony.
Thank you, Zach, for your time.
Thank you. It's just such an honor to be here. I am so excited to see what everybody in your Hack Club builds and what all of you build over the next year. I love reading and getting project updates from Hack Club. Something I've done a few times for clubs in India is I will join 6 months in or a year in, and like just kind of check in with everybody. I would love to do that if that's something all of you'd be interested in. I am really here to support you in every way that I can, and the team at Hackclub HQ is here to support you too. So please don't ever hesitate to reach out. I'm on the Hackclub Slack. Your leaders can help you get on if you don't know how to. And my username is @ZRL, and I would love to hear from you. So good luck this year. Happy hacking, and I can't wait to see what all of you build. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Zach. Thank
Thanks.
you so much.
Thanks a lot, Zach.
Zach.
Yeah.
You bet. All right. Have a beautiful rest of your evening. Take care. Bye-bye.